Yeah, girl. Yeah, I wanted to get a job or something like that. But they say sometimes people with disabilities can't have a job. But I also heard that you can work at least 20 hours or 15 hours if you on disability or SSI or something like that. So I mean, I'll take that. I'll add it with my check. What do you think? Oh, girl, I don't care what you really think. I'm just talking right now because I just wanted you to know that, but I don't know and you don't know. So we're just going to find out, okay? I ain't mad at you. Stop. Girl, I got to go. You know why I got to go, don't you know? Because this is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. Good evening, good evening, good evening. It is so nice to have you tune in today and to meet my guests. Before I introduce my guest, I got a little talky talk with you. I wanted to pay respects to Jackie Joyner. Jackie Joyner belonged to New Life Cathedral in New York, and she had relocated, I believe, in North Carolina. But we love her. We miss her. We were sorry that she passed a couple of weeks ago. She was a kidney warrior. She was a minister. Nobody could dress like her. I mean, she did the peritoneal and she did hemodialysis. She was a businesswoman, worked very hard, and God knows she'll be missed. My church's going to miss her, even where she relocated. And I'm praying for the family, and I'm sending love and condolences. Bless you, bless you, bless you. Okay. Now, for your information this time, I wanted you to remember about your Medicare card. Your Medicare card can get you half price on the bus. Not just a regular bus that you would go to work with, but a Greyhound bus, or you're going somewhere for your family and you want to purchase a ticket. You pull this out and they'll give you half price because you have it. Don't forget that, your little tip. And use your AARP card. Sometimes I don't really get no use out of mine, and I keep paying for it every year. And it's very cheap, about $12 a year. And you can buy flowers and presents and gifts, show it at some restaurants and some hotels, and you'll get a discount just because you belong to this. So don't forget, Lisa Baxter told you. Now, if you're driving and it's the parking is too far away and you're out of breath, you can't breathe, whatever your disability is, hang this in your rear view on the the part of the car where the mirror is, okay? In your mirror. So when you have this, you can get special parking. You can even use up to 4 people in your family that may drive you around. Maybe you're not driving, but others are driving you around. If they have this, they're able to take you around, and it'll be no trouble with the parking because you got this. Now, last but not least, this is the one that goes inside the part of the car in the part where you can also park anywhere. You got plates that you could get, permanent plates, or you can just have your 2 signs, okay? So remember, this is your girl giving you the 411 and the resource that can better your life. Now, while I'm hot and sweaty and having problems hearing with my ears, went to the doctor about that. But anyway, we're going to start the show. The show must go on. How about that? Now, I would like to introduce my sweet, wonderful, fantabulous guest. She's a hard worker. She's a mom. She's a caregiver. She's just an all-around woman. I want you to give all your love and your attention to my guest, Miss Angela Campbell. Woohoo! Welcome, Miss Angela. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm so glad to get you on the show. I had your daughter on the show years ago, and she's going to come back next month to do something with me. But I was glad to get you or your husband because I love your family and what y'all stand for, what y'all have been doing with your family along with your daughter. So I do truly appreciate you. I'm going to start out, let me see, with your job. Talk about your job a little bit so we can make this thing round. The job you retired from.
I worked for ACS, New York City Children's Service.
Excellent, excellent. And what did you do there?
I'm a child protective specialist. I'm a caseworker. I was a caseworker.
I used to be a counselor with them for about 6 years. I loved the job, but the hours were so long. But
It's
how many years did you do that?
20 years as of July.
Wow. Wow. 20 years. All right. All right. Well, now you're on the retirement board with retiring, and how's that going?
Well, I'm getting used to it. I get a chance to rest and I can make my own schedule. So that's good.
All right. Okay. Now, we're gonna go right into it. What what was it like when you first heard the news about your daughter Jovan Campbell um, dealing with dialysis, going on dialysis? I'll start with that because she had several things going on within her life. So we're going to start with that one.
Well, Jovan was a diabetic since she was 12. And
Yeah.
when she got past her teens, she went into renal failure.
Wow.
And once she went into renal failure, she had to do dialysis 3 days a week.
Mm.
We also tried the peritoneal,
Yeah.
but that didn't work, so we had to go back to dialysis.
Mm. So the peritoneal didn't work at all. What was the issue that caused it not to work, if you don't
Well,
mind?
it worked for a little bit, but then it didn't work. After a while, it stopped working, and she had to run back and forth to the hospital. She had a really bad infection,
Mm.
and only because when you do peritoneal, it's in the home, and you have to be very clean, and you got to make sure that you don't touch certain parts. And my daughter is blind at that time, so we were taking care of her, me and
Right.
my children.
Yeah.
Okay, so she I think we did it for about a year. She did it for about a year, and we did as much for her as possible. And then she was having so much infection that the doctors say that wouldn't work. So she went back to doing dialysis, where we would take her to
Mm.
the dialysis center 3 days a week.
Okay. All right. So you tried peritoneal. Did they introduce peritoneal to you, or did you come up with it, or read something that would tell you, let's try peritoneal before hemo? Did you
Well,
have choices?
she was doing hemo, and
Okay.
then I believe the doctors may have suggested that for her. I'm sorry. She was getting a lot of infections on hemo, so they tried the peritoneal, and they
Oh.
trained the doctors and the nurse. Well, the nurse trained us to put the peritoneal, to put all the tubes in her overnight. We would do it at night, and she would be on it all day, all
Mhm.
night rather, and then in the morning she'd be free to do the things she needed to do. But she
Yes.
was still getting infections, and it wasn't doing as thorough job as they thought it would.
Wow. Wow. Well, at least you tried two things, that you tried to do, because some people try one thing and they get upset or they give up or they feel they don't have any more options. So I'm glad that you were able to, get more than one avenue, even though she still carried the infections. Did her diabetes, how was her diabetes during this time that she was dealing with?
It was excellent. It was,
What? All right. That's beautiful. That's good. So even though she was on dialysis, one thing was going a little haywire, but the other thing that was haywire, normalized, or well, that's probably not a word, got better.
yeah, her dialysis was good because she really tried. She tried not to drink too much water. And even though she was blind, she worked with it and she knew herself more than we did. So she told us what we needed to do and what, can't be done. And she knows her history very well.
Oh, she does. I listen. We were in the same dialysis center in South Queens dialysis together, so I've gotten a chance to know her. Even we were in the hospital together in Mount Sinai. One time I was in there and I saw her, and we were always chatty and friendly towards one another. And I had always admired how your family did stuff as a team. One minute I see the father bringing her in, and then sometime I'll see, the sisters and brothers or practically the whole family bringing her in. So you guys made a beautiful decision to head this thing on together. Because you know, when you're on dialysis or any illness, you really need a support. You really need your family. You need to have some love shown to you because it's not an easy journey. So my
No,
hat off to you.
thank you. Well, this cannot be done without everybody putting all their resource together. One person may take her, and the extra that was added to it is that Jovan was blind. She lost her sight in the process, so that she couldn't just walk there or take a cab there. We had to make sure either we take her there or she had transportation. And what we did was my husband and I worked together. If he
Mhm.
dropped her in the morning, I picked her up in the evening, vice versa. And when we couldn't do it, my son did it. And, so we had to work together to make sure that she was well taken care of. The parts that she could have taken care of, she did excellent with that. She knew her body. She really tried. She watched her water, which, is very important when you go into renal failure, that you watch your liquid. She knew how it is. She knew what to do. She's still blind and she does all her medication by herself. So
I know
she's
that's
really
right.
good.
I've seen her in action. I know that's right. It is hard to keep the water and everything. The 12 years I was on dialysis, I never had the tube down my throat, but I've seen my sister suffer through that, and she really went, crazy with that tube down her throat. So I'm sure Jovan didn't want it down her throat. I know I did. So I'm glad that she was able to do that because that is not easy. I used to suck the cup after the water was gone. I wanted so much water. So you're looking around for more. But well, how old was she? Okay, you said 12 with, was it 12 with diabetes? She was 12 years old.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you've been at this a minute. And when she had diabetes, at what age was she?
Well, she's an adolescent diabetic. So when she was
Oh,
12, we found out that she was actually a diabetic, and she started taking insulin from then. And she actually did her insulin measurement and whatever she needed to do by herself. We never had to stick her or anything. So she did that by herself. And as
wow.
she got older, she lost the use of her eyes, and she had all other complications because of the diabetes. And I think what happened is when you're adolescent diabetic, your organs get damaged faster than if you are become a diabetic when you are older. Because if
Say
you
that.
become a diabetic when you are like 40 or even 30, your organs are already developed and it's
Yes,
more maintaining. But when you start as a child, you're still developing. So it's
true.
very easy for it to become damaged. And I guess at that point, it's more advanced or it gets advanced really fast.
Wow. Well, how did you deal with these things? Because these are some serious things. Now, you had to deal with her being a diabetic. If you don't mind, I would have asked how you dealt with her as a diabetic, how you dealt with her as a dialysis patient, and how you dealt with her when she lost her sight. Because that's not easy for any parent. And I mean, y'all always came in happy all together. She even was happy, and everything like that. So I'm like, wow, I just was so honored to know you guys and just so happy. So,
Well, when we found out that she was diagnosed with diabetes, I changed everybody's diet. I kind of
wow.
went crazy. Nobody had sugar, and now that I'm looking back,
Yes,
that's not what it means. As a diabetic, you have to pick and choose what you need to eat. You don't just take everything away, but that's all we knew years
at the
ago.
time.
Taken
Yes.
away, and everybody was just nobody was having sugar in the house. Okay. When she lost her sight, she has good days and bad days like everybody else. But
Yeah.
what I give her credit for is she never stops trying. And that thing is moved into how she's still blind. She goes wherever she needs to go. She's very independent. And I think that also gives me encouragement that if she could do all that, there's no need for me to worry about my petty stuff because she's
Woo.
dealing with a lot more. So
Yes.
that
Oh, yes.
keeps us going. And she has her good days and bad days like everybody else, but most of the time she's dragging us around.
She's gonna go. I know she's a goer. Now, when you found out she had to go on dialysis, now how did that hit you guys? How did that hit you?
Well, we didn't expect it. So let me put it this way. We didn't expect it so early in her age. But when
Right.
we got there, we were kind of helpless because what do you do for your child that's going going on dialysis? Now
Yes.
she's losing the function of her kidney. She she went blind, and there's just so much you could tell someone to
Yes.
comfort them
That's
unless
so
they're strong. And she had some good days, but she and her dad has a really good relationship, and he could always bring her back to where she needs to be.
wow.
And um, I think the most important thing is she didn't want to just roll over and die. She wanted to fight, and she
She's a
fight. She
fighter.
cried, she
Hmm.
got upset, she got depressed, but she never stopped. And that's the most important thing that I could say to anybody. You just can't give up in anything you do.
Wow.
She is a really strong person. She is my oldest,
Yes.
and when I'm not around, she holds it down. We don't need sight for everything. We really don't. She
Wow.
still can do and take care of herself now.
Did she need any counseling or anything dealing with this, or you know?
I spoke to her about the counseling and she didn't want any.
All
I,
right.
I, I just left the door open that when she wants to talk and cry, she could come to us. And she,
Yeah.
like I said, she had her days.
Well,
I
yeah.
think
Mm.
that she did. She had her days. It was really bad when she lost her sight because it dwindled down and then it just went.
Wow.
And I think our first Christmas was rough, trying not to see Christmas because she likes to do the decorations and she
Oh,
likes to wrap the gifts. So that
wow.
was the best Christmas we've had. But she's much better now. She can rap in the dark.
Oh, that's beautiful to say. That's beautiful to say. Well, anything that hits you hard, you have to always find a way to deal with it. Like you, when my mother was diabetic, we had to stop all sugar and all salt. And my father had high blood pressure, heart trouble, polycystic kidney disease, all of that. We had to stop all of that. So we had to eat what they eat or not eat the stuff around them if we ate anything. So they wouldn't feel bad or feel deprived. So my hat off to you because your children was younger than Jovan. And you tell me, well, I can't have a lollipop or candy bar or whatever. But when you love somebody, you will take that sacrifice or risk. So I'm definitely not mad at you. You know what I'm saying? I just not, Jovan has been on the prayer line, a prayer line that Elder Jerry Mallory Apostle was on my show a few weeks ago, and she's been on that prayer line. I mean, she prayed like a champion. She'd call in, and stuff like that. And she did that a good while for months. So I know she's faith based too. And I know that she's just a fighter all around, you know what I mean? And she's just loving all the time too. So I guess you take her to church or something that but she I know she's a believer and everything. So I know a lot of times I had to rely on that and deal with that for myself to help me through some of those days.
You have to have faith. You have to pray, and we do that. I, I don't let a day go by without we pray. I pray with my husband. I pray with my children when they need to. I'll
Excellent.
pray with her. If she has someone that she knows in trouble, she'll call me up and go, "Mommy, let us pray." Okay, so her faith is strong.
Oh
Whenever
yeah.
she's not tired or whenever she doesn't have an appointment, we go to church together. And
Excellent.
whether we go to church or not, we do a lot of praying because nobody is going to be more supportive than who we pray for, you know. So if
Amen.
you don't have faith, you're going to be in trouble in
Oh,
everything you do. So we
I
do
ain't
that.
mad at you. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, how did this change the family life? Because, before, I mean, my life was so different before I got on dialysis. How did that change your lives? Because your lives, everybody's lives was, and then now we got to restructure it So how did that go, or how was you able to do it or come up with a plan?
Well, when Joanne lost her sight, and then right after, I think we started, her kidneys failed and we went into dialysis. What would My husband works at night and I works in the day, so we kind of overlap each other.
Yes.
So we had to make sure that someone was always there for her, because when she just lost her sight, she kind of teached herself how to walk around the house. So all we didn't move any furniture, so that was fine. But
Yes.
she could not, or she was not strong enough yet to go outside by herself. But she does good now. She come in, she come out, and she does what she wants to do. But someone needed to always to be there with her. When my husband is not there with her, we would I would be here with her, or my son would come home from school and he would, or my younger daughter would. So somebody was always in the home with her.
Was that difficult or hard or stressful, or your plan just worked and
No, it wasn't easy, but and I'm sure everybody. I think the younger kids, they had to do a sacrifice. They couldn't always be in the street if they needed to do something. While
yeah,
I have to work, they have to be here for her.
right.
you, you're a family. You have to
That's
give
right.
up some things, okay? And they did. The two younger ones, they did a big sacrifice and they were here with her when I wasn't here with her. And
Yes.
when I wasn't here with her, my husband wasn't in there. So everybody needed to know where they were at all times. And someone had to be here with her.
Well, I'm telling you, y'all put that stuff to action. Y'all really did. If I never saw a family, my family is tight too. They have my back and everything, and we do a lot of stuff together. Since I've had so many of my members of the family on dialysis, we were able to talk and stuff. I just love the way your family just chimed in and kept the ball rolling. Nobody dropped the ball. I like football, so nobody dropped the ball. I like basketball too. And poof, slam dunk. You did what you had to do. You did what you had to do. Now, the good news is that she got a transplant. So how did that go? Woo!
Well, she was put on the list because her kidney was really bad and she was having a lot of difficulty, a lot of infection. She couldn't have a fistula because she had a clotting issue.
Wow.
So when she got the kidney, they informed us that she was close. She and another person was at the top. And whenever they called us, we needed to be there within 6 hours.
Mhm.
So they called me and told me that she and another person had a kidney and they had to see which one was eligible to get the kidney.
Mhm.
That was about 5, 6 o'clock in the evening,
Woo.
and went to dialysis. We came home, and maybe about 1 o'clock they called and they go, "You have to get here before 4 o'clock." So we just jumped up, took a shower, and I didn't
Wow.
even drive. I just took a cab to Mount Sinai, and we were there. You know,
Oh, wow.
didn't
Now
worry
that's
about parking.
action.
So that's what happened, and that's when she had the kidney transplant.
How many years ago was that? If you
Six
remember.
years. Actually, her anniversary is coming up in a
Right.
few.
That's I think in October, was it? It's coming
Yes.
up. Yeah, because she wanted a particular date that somebody took, and I didn't. I wanted to try to switch it for her, but she took as long as October. She's happy at least. So I did get a chance to book her up in October because I booked 3 months in advance. But wow, wow. So anniversary, woo! We gotta celebrate. Where my confetti? Woo! So congratulations to her.
Yes.
Congratulations to her. How was it that you know of that? Well, how was it for her to take the meds and everything, or to
Well,
comply to what was happening? Because I
yeah,
remember being on the list too, and number four, and because of Obama thing, the years you stayed on, dialysis made me push me to the top more than the time that I would have to wait. So I thank God for that. But how was that with the pills and stuff?
well, originally, when she came home, she had to return at least once a week. Then it went to twice a week. Then it went to once a week. Then once every 2 weeks. I
Yeah,
measured
that was
out
fun.
we got one of those weekly medication, and I every week I would do the weekly medication, and all she had to do was fill the top and she would give it out. Now she does her own medication because she knows what it feels like and she knows what she's doing. But for the first maybe about 6 months to a year, I did the medication. The kids, other kids knew how to do
Yeah.
it,
Uh-huh.
knew what to give, and but I did the medication. Most of the time, my husband took her to the doctor, and once the medication came, we did it weekly.
Wow. Wow. I remember like 19 pills in the morning and 16 at night. Then I
Yep.
remember, 4 in the morning. Now I take two at night, which two was standing there because I had no dinner, but they over there, for me to take. So, did she have any reactions or anything, or any side effects, or any issues?
Hmm? I
Oh,
believe she did.
I know she's in there somewhere with you.
And,
Yeah, but I ain't
and
mad at her. You
actually,
next, girl. You are next. You know.
she knows she knows her history so good. But we had a little complication because I think she had her kidney in October,
Uh-huh.
and the kidney was sleeping. She got it.
Oh,
She had to go back to dialysis because it
to
was
wake it
in
up. Ah.
okay. I
Mm.
think she was back for a couple of weeks. Then then the week of Thanksgiving, it kind of went back to sleep again. So we
No.
had to take her back to the hospital. But once it started working, it worked. But in the beginning, for the first 2 weeks, it didn't do anything. It just
Mhm.
was inactive. And so they told her she needed to go to dialysis so she could still cleanse her body and keep
Yes.
the blood clean until it start working on its own.
Yes.
And when it start working on their own, they discontinued the dialysis. But she does very good
Woo-hoo.
now. She
Oh
watches
yeah.
what she eats and she makes sure she takes no medication that will affect the kidney because although it is a transplant, it doesn't, there is still certain things that she can't take because it's
That's
not her
right.
natural kidney. So she makes sure that she does nothing to damage or put herself at risk to run back and forth to the hospital with a
That's
kidney.
right. No pomegranate juice, no grapefruit juice, no salad bars,
Yeah,
nothing lingering on your food,
right,
parasites or anything.
right, yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah, you got to be
we,
careful.
we we know that. So whatever we do, we know that if it comes in the house, we have to tell
Right.
her. And most of the time, we don't bring pomegranate in here or grapefruit juice because she goes around. She goes in the fridge. She helps herself. She knows what everything is. She knows where
Yeah.
her insulin is. She knows where everything is. So we don't bring anything in the house that would put her at risk.
Well, that's fantastic. Now that's a real family. Now I know that I had referred her to, I think it was the Blind Association, and I think they maybe sent her to Helen Keller. And these are great programs that help. I know a lot of people that have issues with sight sometimes don't go anywhere. I mean, they have, like parties and gatherings and help you with work and all kind of stuff. And because me and her talk, sometimes we talk for a couple of hours, and she's always open. And I was glad that she was glad. Anything I sent her to, she went to, and she was happy. She gave me great feedback, and just because I love her, I just love your daughter. That's all to it. So I'm just grateful that I wanted to do something to help because I saw such a young person on dialysis that kind of touched me, and
Yes.
that's rare. That I see somebody that young,
It,
on dialysis.
it interrupted her life for a minute.
Yes.
Okay. Then she had to relearn how to do things from being blind. But she's really good. I had to ask her to set this Be Live up because I don't do Facebook. No,
I
she's
know.
good. Honestly, she is excellent, and she gets
Yeah.
up. She goes to Helen. She was going to Ellen Keller. She took every program that she could think about that would just make her mobile. She
Yes.
gets on the Active now, and she is gone. She's going.
Yes.
She went to
My little
Washington.
hero. Mm-hmm.
She's going to Buffalo next month. She moves. She has a program that she goes to. She came in here maybe about 45 minutes before this program starts on her own. She's doing a lot of these things, and then she has a PCA.
Hmm. Well,
So
she's very independent. I know.
she
She's very
is.
independent.
And she's very informative too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I seen her on the beach. I looked on her Facebook page and I see the girl living it up on the beach. I said, girl, you better go ahead. You better
Yes.
go ahead. You really can't let life stop because of illness.
No.
Believe it or not, somebody I think said in church, even with illness, you can't even stop your ministry or whatever God called you to do. You always got to be at work at something, and it's good to be busy. It makes you
Yes.
feel good to help somebody else or say something. And I know you coming on will help a parent or anybody dealing with this issue. That meant a lot to me to have you on because I was always thinking about you guys for years. And I said, one of these days I'm going to get them. And I got you. So, yes, Jovan is very mobile and she's always asking about work or a job, or an apartment, you know. So
Mhm.
I always try to, guide her with those kind of things. But she's happy wherever she is.
She is. She is. And like I said, everybody have their good and bad days. My
Yeah.
husband and I do not let her feel sorry for herself. There is no why, okay, because things happen. And as we sit here, I see worse things happen to people that we could say, Lord, thank God it's not us. So she doesn't get to wallow in this house. Nobody gets to wallow in this house. And my husband is a person that will push that, oh, so this is happening to you. Let's move on. You're not special, just move on. So she's learned how to do that along the years, and she has motivated us to be very grateful for what we have, considering what she's doing with what she has. And I'm
Yes.
very proud of her. Very.
Wow, that is excellent. That is excellent. And you have a right to be proud. You raised
Yes,
a woman. You raised a warrior woman. You raised a
yes,
strong woman that don't take no junk and that she's a fighter.
yes.
1000% a fighter. You know
Sometimes
what
I
I'm
like to
saying?
tell her to be quiet. But she's really good.
Yes, yes. Well, what would you say to a parent that this might have happened to? Any one of the three things that happened to Jovan, or what would you say to encourage them or advice you can maybe give them? Because somebody is hanging at the rope. Somebody has had it. Somebody else don't know what to do. Somebody's ready to walk away. Whatever they are, give them what you got.
For one thing, you always have to get information, but you have to motivate your child to do whatever it is that they need to do.
Yes,
Javon's been diabetic since she was 12. When she got to high school, I made sure there was a profile in the school for her, so
yes.
that when she would be in the hospital, I would run to school, get her homework, take it to her. If they gave me a month homework, she had to do it in 2 weeks.
Wow,
They would take it back, they would mark it, and when I think for her 10th, she was in the hospital for months at a time. She
wow,
never got left back because I made sure she got her homework. When she went to school, she did her tests, and she never got left back because when you have a child that has special needs, it is your responsibility to do the best that you can do for them. Okay, once they get to an adult, if they don't want to do anything else, there's just so much you can do. But you just have to motivate people and you just have to keep them positive. Things could happen to anybody. Why
that's
it happened to you, I don't have the answer for that. I didn't have the answer for that for her. I felt really bad. I felt very helpless when I see that she was just everything was happening out of all my children. Everything was happening to her. But I
yeah,
never let her wallow in this pity.
yes,
No pity. You fall, you pick up yourself and you move on. So I would tell any parent you don't have a pity party with your children. You motivate them. I mean, you love them, you listen to them and you go, okay, so what we're going to do tomorrow? And we keep
mhm,
it moving. And
yeah,
information, a lot of information that I have is through Jovan. Jovan surf for everything. Any
mm,
medication that comes in here, whether it's for me or anybody else, she's up there looking what it is and what we can't use and what we need to. So she is
wow.
excellent. Right?
She's
But it's
involved in her own care. I love it. I
yes,
love it. Because some
she
people
say
silence
more.
the kids or don't let them say anything. So I'm glad that you let her still have a voice and that you was able to make her, stand strong and be strong. You spoke into her life. Sometimes the words you say can hurt you or kill you, but they also can encourage you. So you chose the road to encourage. All right, you crying. Wipe your eyes now and let's start back fighting. Get your sword, pick your tools back up. Let's go.
That's it.
You better go ahead. I just say, mad at you. Stop it. Oh my goodness. Wow. You have really raised a real woman. And I love that. I love that. Is there anything that we didn't say or didn't talk about or didn't cover or anything you just might want to say?
The only thing I want to say is that things are always going to happen, and we're not perfect, and there's so much things that we can't explain, and it's not a why, but it's just that you just have to be as strong as you could be. You have to motivate your children, you have to support them, and you have to back them, and you have to be able to tell them, no, we're not going to do this, we're going to do that, and they're not always going to like it. But I have a child that is a motivator, and she just happened to be my first child, and she holds everybody down, and I'm so happy for her. Without the sight, she is excellent.
Wow. Wow. That should be on Hallmark. I ain't mad at you. Come on. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Just my daughter Bianca. She spent the weekend with us, and she just went home, and
Uh-huh.
she's in. I just want to tell her I love her, and the
Wow.
rest of my children that I love them all.
Wow. And you got 3, right?
I have 4.
4? I'm missing one. Get out of here.
My son lives in Buffalo.
Okay. All right. Yes. All right. Okay. Yes, that's good. That's good. Well, um, you gave your shout out, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on the show, sharing, not holding back. I appreciate that, and I hope you have a fantabulous night. And thank you, thank you. I'm just
Well,
about to end the show.
good enough. Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Okay, good night.
Good night. Now, guys, you have heard it. You have heard it straight from a parent, from a caregiver, from a mom. Ooh, the whole family was involved. What can you do or say about that? I am very happy, but my flowers to her, my flowers to any parent that's out there dealing with their children and don't know what to do. You deserve encouragement, blessings, probably a vacation and some sleep. And here's your flowers. Your girl Lisa Baxter had to give it to you. She had to bring it, and she brought it tonight. How about that? I love you. I see you next week. We having another fantastic guest. Matter of fact, it's a doctor, a nephrologist, Dr. Stafford John. Oh, he's a nephrologist and everything. As a matter of fact, Jovan knows him. He was in our dialysis center. He's my primary and my nephrologist, and he's just a great guy too. So tune in next week. Tell your friends, share Urban Health media network, because a lot of people deal with a lot of stuff and they just don't know about this. So we're not trying to get rich. We're not selling anything, but we want it out there because there's a lot of families that need help, love, and support. And I give out a lot of resources. All of the shows on here do. So look out, read, get your information, and then go to war. Love you, Lisa. Good night.